Progressive Soapbox. All right. Hello, this is Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. This is Man on the Street episode. Follow the channel. Know that there's a hospital in behind me. My mom, when we were traveling, I came back home because she was ill and she needed to get a procedure. Well, today she's getting that procedure done. So that's why I'm standing outside as opposed to being back in my studio. One of the things I wanted to talk about, though, I wanted to get one or two shows in um, that didn't require me to necessarily be in the studio. Joe Biden goes Biden. So Joe Biden has crashed in the polls. Now, somebody, one of us, this person who you're talking to right now, has said that Joe Biden was going to tank. And what do we have? We have Joe Biden tanking in the polls. He is down by like 10 points in the polls just after the debate. Just after the debate. Like, think about that. He did so poorly in the debate that he lost like 10 points. So, I'm not going to say I told you so, but I did say I told you so. So there's that. And just to be very precise and specific, Joe Biden went down in the polls. Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris finding the most upside in the polls. There's a few things that are interest that I did note on the day of the debates. Kamala Harris had a very specific job. Joe Biden has the black vote. She's African American. She wants the black vote, and she put a knife in Joe Biden in order to carve that black vote out of Joe Biden. Now, one Mr. Bernie Sanders, as I saw somebody ask, Sanders didn't do all that well in the polls. He, for the most part, moved down slightly. But the biggest gains were Kamala Harris and Warren. Now, on the night of the debate, I kind of made the point that Sanders didn't throw a punch. And I said, even in that video, that Sanders needs to fight. He needs to swing. He needs to, Kamala Harris shouldn't have been the first person to go after Joe Biden. He should have been the first person to go after Joe Biden, after which time Kamala Harris kind of joins in. That's not what happened. And what you found were the people who were the most feisty in the debates, Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren, doing the best in the debates. They are, after all, debates. The goal is not to just give you talking points. The goal is to show a distinction between you and the other individuals in the race. And in Sanders' point, he did not do a great job distinguishing himself. I would argue that Biden, I told you, Biden has been running for president for 40 years. And there's a reason he's not president. He is horrible at running. And even in that debate, he didn't even seem like he wanted to be at the debate. So, there's that. Somebody asked if Warren was feisty. So Warren was feisty within the first few minutes of the debate. The moment that it got to foreign policy, you didn't even know she was on stage. Within the first maybe 20 minutes, she distinguished herself. After that, it seems like on issues of foreign policy, nobody knew she was there. And by the way, just because Kamala Harris did something that was right, meaning she was doing God's work in that very specific moment, doesn't mean Kamala Harris is an awesome. There's a difference in those things. People don't seem to know the difference. All right, so let's be specific. Senator Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren have made steep gains after the first Democratic debate. A new CNN poll conducted shows the vice president's lead over the field shrinking to 5 points. The polls conducted after the two nights find 22% of registered Democratic voters back Biden. That's down. That's been down by, if I'm not mistaken, 10 points. 17% Harris, 15% Warren, 14% Sanders. So, and keep in mind, this is a CNN poll. CNN does dodgy stuff with their polls sometimes, so take it with a grain of salt. But I would say this. It was kind of clear in those debates of where the energy was, and it was not with Biden, and if I'm being honest, it was not with Sanders either. It's not with Sanders either. Anthony Reyes, thank you very much. Cool Blue 41. Democratic Party establishment is going to push for Kamala Harris to be the 2020 nominee. It's been in the works since 2017. Now, if you look back at my old videos, I've also made the point that Kamala Harris is a dark horse in the race. I did that video before the debate saying paging Kamala Harris Kamala Harris needs to distinguish herself. I would tell you this. Garry Kasparov was playing Anand for the championship, for the chess championship. And when he was playing Anand for the championship, Anand won the first game. Anand was on cloud 9, and Garry Kasparov was pissed off. Garry Kasparov, the next game, Anand falls into a trap. Garry Kasparov had planned it, prepared it, And he was playing his moves like split second, because at that point he had already prepared what he was going to do. This was kind of the situation that what's his name was in, that Biden found himself in. The difference is Biden didn't have sense enough to bail. Biden should have just said, "I'm sorry, my bad. I wanted to try to make a point of civility, but this was not the people. These are not the people I should have used to make that point." That's what Biden should have did. But Biden wanted to fight that point, and in trying to fight that point, he ends up in a situation where he looks insane. Like Joe Biden was literally out there arguing states' rights to an audience where a large section of which is going to be African American. So it's like you're literally arguing states' rights. Like there may be some people who are don't know the significance of that, but that's a big fucking deal. He's arguing states' rights. Tulsi Gabbard distinguished herself also in that debate, but she wasn't. She was Googled afterwards, but not major. Sanders. So Warren is up to 15% and Sanders 14%. No other person in the 23-person field registered above 5%. It's those four. Now, Biden did. And so just so we know the numbers again. My arm's concerned, I'm sorry. So just so we know the numbers again. Biden, 17%. Harris, 15%. Warren and Sanders, 14%. No, I'm sorry. 22% for Joe Biden, 17% for Kamala Harris, 15% for Warren, and 14% for Sanders. So Sanders has pretty much been able to retain some level of to some point. That represents a 10-point decline in support for Joe Biden since the last poll, while Harris has posted a 8-point increase. That's amazing. I told you. All right, go know who these people were, and now they're getting their shot to see, to make their appearance. So we'll see. All right, I'll end this here. Candies for Assange tomorrow. Oh, hashtag candles for Assange tomorrow, and no progressive media covered it. Please cover the people fighting. Please cover the people fighting on the ground, not the horse and pony show on the top. Well, you got to do both. You don't have a choice. You got to do both. Any advice, Jamal, on starting a politics, foreign policy news YouTube show? Yes, just do it. There's no magic. Just do it. There's no magic. I swear to God. When I started my show, I had a cell phone, and I would sit in my room with that cell phone, and I would just do the show. I was screaming in front of the camera. And then at some point, the screaming turned into just kind of, analysis of what you want the world to look like. And eventually I added a desk. Eventually I had a room where it was specific for that. Eventually I added a light. Eventually a camera. Like, it evolved just kind of on its own. You just do it. The energy kind of flows in the direction at that point. So I'll end this here. I'm going to have additional videos throughout the course of the day. Also, I want to upload the video from Jordan Sheridan. We're going to be at the hospital for the next 4 or 5 hours. So I'm going to get some work done while I'm here. Thanks all. Again, Bernie, throw a punch. 1,000 times, throw a punch. You found that the people who were the most aggressive in that debate were the ones that the public was most interested in. And I have to be honest, when I watched the debate, I was sitting at the debate party and I'm like, throw a punch. What are you doing? Throw a punch. Nobody knows some of the stuff that you're talking about. The people who threw the punch moved up in the polls. Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren have jumped. Sanders, for the most part, has remained relatively the same. Biden falling by 10 points. And Buttigieg and the rest of the people in the field are not to be found. Tulsi Gabbard got honorable mentions because people started looking her up after the debates. And they were more interested in her after she put down Tim Ryan. So the fact that she's an anti-war candidate did get her some credibility in the debates. But the four that they're looking at so far is Joe Biden, who's only leading by like 5 points now, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and one Bernie Sanders. Thanks all. Bye-bye.